How did Ruby Bridges
How did Ruby Bridges
respond to injustice?
respond to injustice?
For essentially the entire time that I have worked in education, there has been a predominant way of teaching reading and writing, which is known as balanced literacy. Unfortunately, over the years, this way of teaching reading was not meeting the needs of a very large group of children in New York City.
Okay, so the setting, when we think about where and when and where the story takes place, okay? So we know it's Ruby's first day of school at the front school. What else do we know about the setting?
I had a strong preference for Wit and Wisdom from the get-go. I spent a lot of time trying to build the knowledge of staff. And so once teachers had that knowledge of like the why, has this method of literacy instruction not worked for this group of kids over the years, they were more open to making that shift to Wit and Wisdom as our main ELA curriculum. I surveyed them and I said, do you want to switch next year? And 99% of people said, yes, let's do it. I was actually surprised by how resounding it was. And yet it was still incredibly difficult.
Setting.
Characters.
Characters.
Action.
Action.
Problem.
Problem.
Ending.
Ending.
And we call this scape. Everyone say scape.
Scape.
We had very limited training. I had to, find what I could on my own. Luckily, the publisher offered us free professional development. We have a wonderful staff developer that we've worked with all year who's helped our teachers break down and understand the curriculum. We gave teachers as much common planning time as we could. It's a lot of work being a teacher. And even when you're not changing curriculum, it's a lot of work. And so this, whether or not they liked the curriculum, was more hours being put in outside of the school day because you don't know the curriculum. So you have to figure it out. You have to figure out what needs to be adapted for your kids. And there were some issues with the curriculum as well. Some things we didn't feel were developmentally appropriate. Some of the language they used was a bit too high level. There were definitely a lot of people in panic mode once they saw how different it was from the way that we were used to teaching. And so, we went from, yay, we're doing this, to, oh my God, what have we done? To slowly, wow, I see how this is working. And I see huge improvements in my kids' skills. And that's where we are now.
Ooh. So what word did we just make?
I think it's still a work in progress. Right now, the things that I see that are incredibly successful are our kids' writing. It blows me away. Our first graders are writing paragraphs with topic statements, with complete sentences. We see drastic improvements in their oral language skills. We see drastic improvements in their comprehension of text that we're reading in the classroom. Whether or not those things will be reflected on, the state tests or other assessments is really hard to say. And I think these things do generally take a couple of years or several years to really show up in the metrics. I do believe that this is good, effective practice for all students, and it addresses a literacy crisis, an illiteracy crisis. The jury is still out a little bit on this Wit and Wisdom curriculum, but I'm optimistic.